Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's Dragons Lair, brought to us by Elite. Now Dragons Lair is an all-time classic in the arcades. Dragons Lair is a beautiful animated film that has button presses along the way that allows you to continue watching the movie. It may not sound like much now, but it was pretty revolutionary for its time. And with Dragons Lair being such a popular arcade title, it's not surprising that they would like to take the game and bring it to the home consoles. The company Elite was given the task of taking Dragons Lair and moving it over to the NES. How on earth were they going to take a beautiful animated game such as Dragons Lair and port it to the 8-bit consoles? Well, they found a way by changing it into a side-scrolling platformer, which, in theory, is not necessarily a bad thing. However, they did a pretty bad job at doing this. If you have never played Dragons Lair on the NES, it can be summed up as pretty much an abomination of 8-bit gaming. They tried to make it like the arcade game, whereas every couple of seconds you're going to have to do something quick or else your character ends up dying. However, when you're trying to move from platform to platform and your character moves like molasses, it's almost impossible to judge where to go. It's almost impossible to tell what's coming at you. And if you just look at the screen for a couple of seconds to figure out where to go to next, you end up dying. I don't think I can recommend a game less than Dragons Lair. If you've never played it before, just please do me a favor, watch the video, enjoy it, but never touch the game. Over the last few weeks, I've put many hours into trying to figure out this game, trying to get better at it. And I must say, if you are even going to attempt to beat this game, you have to be at least a little bit sadomasochistic. I'm not sure what that says about myself. However, just making it one step farther in this game each time you play it is definite progress. During the video, like always, I will try to give my best tips in order to help you beat this game. However, you must decide whether or not it's even worth it. So here we go with Dragons Lair on the NES. It starts off just like any other normal game. You see your opening screens telling you about the game, telling you who made it, what it's based off of, and all that good stuff. You get to choose multiple players if you want to play this, actually 2 players taking turns. However, I can't seem to figure out any way that you could dupe someone into helping you play this game. Now you're going to notice just at the start of the game how slow the movement is. How long it takes me to just jump straight up in the air. As you move over, you can see that the bridge breaks open and a dragon pops out of it as well as the gate closes. If you try to go over the dragon to go right through the gate, it's an instant death. If this dragon hits you with one of its fireballs, it's also an instant death. The best strategy is to quickly, or as much as possible you can move quickly in this game, to the left side of the screen and then start a dodging and jumping fest, whatever you prefer, to try to hit the dragon with your knives. Now that's just a small taste of what this game has for you. Now when you enter the prison area of the game, you can see these guys stick their hands out of these prison gate doors, and they throw rocks at you. Once again, instant death if they touch you. You can see that you do have a health bar in the upper right corner right below your gold count. That's your energy meter. Now, you have different letters is what makes up for the different items, meaning either energy, you can have a C for candle, you have G for gold, which racks up your score. I'm not sure exactly why you would even attempt to go for a high score. As well as you have multiple different letters for different weapons that you can pick up. Most of the weapon upgrades are hidden. The best overall weapon in the game is the axes, which you can throw. I'm actually going to grab them right here. Now, you may have noticed that the item all of a sudden appeared out of nowhere. What that was is you have your candle, which I mentioned earlier. To use the candle, you press the start button. There's only one area in the game that you have to use it in order to see all the platforms and stuff coming at you. However, you can use it at other random spots in the game, jump up into a certain area or just stand still in a certain area, press enter, and an item will appear. The only way to get those items is by using the candle. You can't just jump into that area and get the item like it's kind of hidden but you can't see it. You have to use the candle in order to find it. Now this is, I guess, the second boss you consider. If you consider the dragon at the very beginning, the first boss. It's a series of multiple snakes that shoot out these rocks that are an instant death if they hit you. They come in the same pattern every single time they come at you, so every time you redo this part, you can get better at figuring out exactly what pattern they come from, so that you can get more used to where you should stand and where you should move. There really isn't too much strategy other than trial and error, especially when it comes to that part, and pretty much actually overall every single part of the game. It's a complete game of trial and error, which was the arcade version, so it's not a surprise that they would go that way. However, it just doesn't work in this style of gameplay. Now this is the, well, I guess the second level you could call it. As you can see, and you've been seeing throughout the run, that for some reason the bats, thankfully, aren't an instant kill like all the other enemies in the game. Now this part is when we're going to have to actually use the candle, so if you've used it throughout the level so far up to this point, make sure that you do fill up your candle meter. There was that one upgrade right there. Now here's when we actually start with some moving platforms in this game. The worst thing about them is they don't automatically move you. As you would know in most games, when you step on a moving platform, your character travels along the moving platform, and then you can jump off at the end. However, with the moving platforms in this game, you have to keep walking along with it. Now right there was the only time in the game you'll see it, but wind, or whatever you want to call it, air coming out from underneath the hole will actually float you up in the air and allow you to get over to the opposite side. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm not really sure exactly how it works or how you're supposed to manipulate it, but it sometimes works, like I said, and sometimes it'll float you up a little bit and then you'll just drop straight to your death. Now, as you saw a few seconds ago, the whole screen got dark for a second, and I used my candle, and as you can see in the upper left corner, the candle meter is slowly trickling down. Thankfully, since this is the only time you must use the candle in order to see properly, I guess you really officially don't have to use it, but it's definitely a big help. So thankfully, it doesn't matter if it runs out or not. Now, this is the next boss. You have these two troll barbarians that are in these minecarts, and you want to go over to the right just enough so that you can see the first one popping his head out, and then start throwing your axes at him, and as well as jumping from his rocks. Now focus more attention on dodging the rocks and throwing your axes. It'll take longer, but it should at least prolong possible death. Like I said, if you don't jump at the exact right second, if you don't move in the exact right moment, one tiny mistake will instantly cause you to die, so you have to be very careful. Continue jumping and throwing the axes when you get the opportunities, and after only a few hits or so, the second or third boss, whatever you want to call it, is taken care of, and we move on to the next level. So now we move on to the next level. We start off on the elevator again. We're going to bypass the first right platform. The elevator will slowly move down again, and we're going to skip the one on the left. You'll see a left platform. Don't go over to that one. Instead, you're going to wait for it to travel down one last time, and then we're going to jump over to the right one, which will lead us to the next level.